what? Of He gave you a gauge of will, like a willpower, yay or nay, do the right thing or don't do the right thing. That is your understanding. But the spirit is coming from him, and the yay and nay is going to decide your intensity of your spirit, your power levels of your spirit, of increase of levels, because there is levels, right? There's no limit to your levels. However, to your understanding and your beliefs and your faith limits you, right? A faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. So that means, imagine a faith of what's it called, a mountain, the size of a mountain, what you can do. You can change the order of things. There are certain things that are set in a foundational way that you cannot change because that is God's foundation. That is before time, right? But within where you are, the atmosphere that you're in, you can change. Do you remember when Jesus Christ, um, when the people, the Pharisees, they want to test Jesus and they're like, you know, they brought like a prostitute, a person that, committed prostitution, right? And they're like, you know what? We're going to do this and we're going to test Jesus on, to see what he says about this. And they brought the, what's it called, prostitute for and said, Jesus, what do you say about this? And Jesus basically bent down and he started drawing in the sand. He started writing words in the sand. And then he finally made a line and says, if anyone that has not sinned should pick up a stone and stone her. And everybody that picked up the rocks, they dropped all the rocks and they walked away. And he forgave the lady. You see, wisdom is something that it's part of you, but the activation of it is something that you need to work on. Because guess what? The closer you are with God, the wiser you become. Moses was close to God, got the 10 commandments, but you see in Moses after 40 days, his hair was black when he was going into the Mount Zion. He came out and his hair was all white, right? Because of the closeness, the power, the wisdom that he obtained. And you see, God can use anybody. You notice anywhere he comes, there's light projecting. That means life is there. He is the life. So life has to be wherever he is. If darkness is there and Jesus appears there, if God appears there, there's light surrounding everything and intensifying everything. And that's what people need to understand. God's with you only if you believe. God's with you only if you increase your faith. God is with you if you spend time with him. And spending time is not the times where it's always, with people and stuff like that. Yes, that helps you to increase your fellowship, your power. But your deep relationship must be in privacy. What you and God discuss in private, what you talk about in private, who you truly are in private. Because in privacy is where you are defined. And privacy is where your character is created. And all of these things are made. Hmm? You see, things take time to be made. Things that are great takes time to be made. For example, if you are baking a cake or you're making something, when you create these things, right, you have to put in the oven. You have to put in the baker. Notice that you cannot stand there, or you could, but everything that is happening where your eyes, your physical eyes cannot see. You cannot see exactly what is happening for the cake to be made to that degree where it tastes the right way and it's properly made. It just, you have a time. It says maybe 30 minutes or an hour. And After that, you know, okay, it's supposed to be finished, right? But we don't always know the time on, you know, how much our characters are being what tested, right? We don't always know the time on what we need to work on. It just, you keep going and you keep intensifying, because you never know the challenges that are faced to you. And the more intensify you become, the more challenges that are given to you. Well, those challenges give you greater insights, and it helps you to what? Bring more people to God. Because guess what? God has to test all of us. He has given us equal abilities spiritually. You understand? Because He knows that spiritually we are perfect. But flesh wise, right? Things change. Some people may be born, without hands and feet, and sometimes they're born equally physically healthy, but things can change in their circumstances, and then, you know they're not fully able physically to do things. But that doesn't mean spiritually they're not on equal planes. For intensity is fully in the spirit, and spirit changes the way things are all the time. And our lives must depend on that, because even look what is happening in the world, right? People are what? Finding ways to go live in the virtual world. That is the spiritual world for the flesh. You see what I'm saying? Not for the spirit, but the spiritual world for the flesh. And that's what people or organizations have created to be able to go. And cities are physically being destroyed because of the environment. So now they're creating, what's it called? A virtual version. So spiritual flesh. That is where they're in. And people really need to understand this, because it is truly important to our what future, right? The flesh is designed and designs and creates things so that we are always focused on physical things, physical matters. You know what I mean? And slowly do we forget about our spiritual matters. And our spiritual is what's the blueprint for our physical, right? You can't forget the boss of your life, and that is God. And God is in you. And either way that you choose to head, God is the boss of the flesh and God is the boss of the spirit. Either avenue that you go, there's different rules. I always say there's always different rules. If you go in one direction in the spiritual path, you will know that the path is narrow, because it has certain specific rules that you must follow. But if you go in the flesh, it's wide and it's vague, and you can go into that direction. But know that you will finally encounter God. But His ways are different, right? It says, I am God, my ways are different. My ways are different means that I control both sides. You understand? But the rules that I have for both sides are different. One side is my children, the ones that are obedient, the one that listen, the ones that kept increasing their spiritual life, the one that stayed connected to me through all those years, all those hard times. That is one side of me. The other side is the one that wanted to do their own thing, but they are borrowing myself in them. That one decided to do whatever they wanted to and follow the other rules that, leads them to perish. And so you also meet that side of God. So whichever side that you want to go in, you can choose to go. Whether you believe or you don't believe, the God is still in you. If you choose to go, you can go. At the end of the day, what's going to happen? You will finally get to a level where God will say, did you know me or do you not know me? Do not know me means you went on the other side that you didn't know, but you still went to him because you're going to reach there and he's going to ask you. You didn't decide to, get to know me, but even though I kept you alive, even though I did all these things, even though I told you that the real meaning to life is your spiritual side, and you chose to do whatever other people wanted to do, the flesh desires. That is your main purpose. So therefore, understand that the flesh is temporary. And because the flesh is temporary, I am going to what? You're going to perish. So therefore, that is why you are going to perish. How are you doing? That is why you are going to perish. However, the ones that were obedient, the ones that were fighting to what? Stay relevant. The ones that were fighting to win souls back, to what? Awaken others. Those ones, right? Those ones are going to help. I hope you're enjoying the chat that we're having. Those ones is who we need because guess what? They are resilient. They love me because what? They stuck by me. They took my word. And guess what? They lived with it and they died with it. So, because of that, they have eternal life because that is the true activation. That is the true way for them to grow. That is the true way to become better. You see what I mean? Because guess what? We all look to God at the end of the day. Some people may say, well, I don't like God. I don't do these things. Or why is God like this? God is always there. His presence are always there. That is why he infused himself within us. He says what? We are small gods. That means we have unlimited potential because God does not die. He creates things that do not die. Those people who don't want to know him will not die, but they will be punished. They will suffer eternity in the flames because it's simple. He cannot create things that die because everything he creates is a purpose. He has purpose for all of them. Notice he's using Lucifer for a purpose to intensify us, to get us to awaken, for us to compete, to know that, we need a challenge and his word is his word. So he's going to what? Increase our power and our ability, right? Thanks for listening, man. God bless you. Have a great day at work. So, you see, and God's always going to be with you if you, right,